Hi guys, in this video we're going to make a cake with a theme from 50 Shades Darker, and I'm going to be using some flour and modelling paste for the topper. So I've got Renshaw's one here and I've mixed a bit of black with a bit of white modelling paste. Now to make the mask I'm going to need something to sort of mould the face shape onto. So I've got an Elsa doll. I just bought this one on eBay. Just to make sure you've given her face a good clean before we add any modelling paste to it. So rolling it out reasonably thin, and I'm just going to push it onto the face so we get a rough idea of where the eyes are going to go. And I'm just going to mark out the line for my mask now with my modelling tool, and I can see through slightly where her eyes are. And you don't have to use an Elsa doll, you can use any doll that you want. Just make sure it's got roughly the right sized face for the mask that you want to do. So we're going to just draw around all those lines to create the shape for the mask. I'll do a little bit in the middle and take it up at the sides. And I'm just going to take that off to cut it properly to shape. Just going to use a knife for this. So once it's cut out, I'll stick that back in place. Now I've got plenty of corn flour on here just to stop it sticking to the face. So I'm going to let the mask set now. I'm going to leave mine overnight. Then once it's set, I can dust off all that corn flour using a dry brush on the front and the back. And I'm using a number 2 piping nozzle now and some royal icing. I've just got mine ready made. I'm going to dye it a grey colour. And we're just going to pipe little swirly patterns now onto the mask. So I've put the mask back on her face just because it holds it into a nice position for me when I'm piping. I've got quite a thick nozzle on here, so you can change for a thinner one if you prefer. I'll outline the edge of sort of the eye holes. Try and get little swirls on. You can put whatever pattern you like on the mask. Try and make it similar both sides. Go for all different shapes. We'll put some little teardrop shapes on as well. I'm just going to use a brush to touch up any bits where I've gone wrong. Keep going until you've filled the mask. Then when you're happy with it, we'll let that dry. So I've let it dry, and you can see I've also gone over with a slightly thinner nozzle with some in-between little lines as well. And we're going to try and make it a bit more like the one from the film. So we're just going to use some silver luster dust. I've got a rainbow dust one here that I'm using. And again, just using a dry brush, give it a light brush over the mask that we've made. Now the mask is quite fragile, so don't press too hard when you're doing it. I've just caught the royal icing rather than pushing it all the way onto the modelling paste. So that's the topper finished. Now I've mixed up our cake mix, and I'm going to have 5 layers, so I've got 5 bowls here. I'm going to dye 5 different shades of grey, just using some food colouring. Now I have put white in some of the lighter shades of grey as well as the black. And I've just used a sugar flare food colour for this. I've got a shadow grey, black and white. So that first one's got shadow grey and white in, and just go darker as you go along. So I've put these in little cake tins, and they're going to go in the oven. So now they're baked, we're just going to make them a little bit smaller. You can see the food colouring split in that one. I'm going to cut them all out to the same size, and then we're just going to add some buttercream between each layer. Pile them up on top of each other. I've got the darkest at the bottom, the lightest at the top. Just give it a light coating of buttercream just on the top and the edges. And once I've done that, we're going to cover it in chocolate ganache. So because it's quite soft, I've just put that in the freezer for 10 minutes just to start to firm it up a little bit. And we're going to cover it in white chocolate ganache on this one. If you prefer, you can just add another layer of buttercream instead of the white chocolate ganache. So I've covered it. I'm just going to put a little bit more on. So I'm just using a scraper to go around the edges. So each time I put a bit of chocolate ganache on, we'll scrape it off so we get a nice smooth edge. So you've gone all the way around. We need to let the ganache set. Once it's set, we can put our fondant on, and I've just gone with a grey. Again, I've just used the shadow grey in my white fondant to get the colour that I want. We'll smooth that down all the way around the cake, trim off all the extra off the bottom. Just give it another once over with the smoothers, and if you want a sharper edge, just rub those 2 smoothers together on that top corner. Just try and wedge that up a little bit so you can see it slightly better from the side. And we're going to add a little bit of colour to it. Again, I've just got a silver edible dust here. We're going to start with it stronger at the bottom, just using a dry brush, brushing it up the cake, bringing it so it's a little bit lighter. Now you can't see it too well on camera, but it does look stronger in colour in real life. But just to darken it a little bit more, we'll mix a little bit of black in with that silver. And again, we'll work from the bottom upwards, concentrating the darker colours at the bottom. You can do that all the way around the cake, like that. You can go darker still if you like. Or you can use your airbrush as well if you prefer. So just like that. So we're going to neaten up the board now. So I'm going to roll a long piece of the grey. So I've got plenty of grey left over from the cake. Just going to trim the edge there. It's just long enough that it's going to go round this cake board. So we're going to position this on here, wrapping it round carefully. Just be careful that you don't tear it at this point. Just make sure it's tucked in nice and tight against the edge of the cake. Cut through those 2 ends. Just give them a little push down. You can spend longer rubbing the seam if you want. And I'm going to trim off all the extra from around the edge just with a sharp knife. So I'm going to put a piece of grey ribbon around the bottom of my cake, just to neaten up the edge. I've just got that royal icing left that I was using on the cake topper that I'm just putting underneath to hold that ribbon in place, like that. I'll make a little grey bow as well to match. So I've just got the same ribbon, tie a little bow, trim that down to size. I'll stick that on in a minute. I'm going to put some more ribbon now around the cake drum just to neaten that up. I've just used double-sided sticky tape to stick mine on with on the board. Okay, so that's like that. We'll use more royal icing again to just stick that little bow onto there. And then we'll just position our cake topper. And once you're happy with where it goes, you can stick it on with royal icing. And then I've got some of these little rainbow jewels that I wanted to just use just to decorate the cake. So these are just like jelly sweets. These are just rainbow dust ones. So there it is, all finished. So this is what it looks like before it's cut into. And then when we've cut into it, you should see your 5 different shades of grey throughout your sponge. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment below. You can see more of my tutorials by clicking on the images on screen now. If you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button to stay up to date with my future tutorials. There are also links in the description box below where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram and more.